world this year is about artificial intelligence. That is why the particular focus of this inaugural conference includes information technology references in general and artificial intelligence especially. We have here today influential theorists and experienced practitioners in social work and related fields. Shoaib is himself a young but experienced social entrepreneur and practitioner who is bridging information technology and social work in his daily activity. This is what linked us, as in the past 5 years I have been working also at the intersection between technology and society. Without further ado, I am wishing you a fruitful conference. Shoaib, thank you for accepting our invitation. It is great to have you here, and the floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you, Tudor, for your beautiful and lovely introduction. And I think I really appreciate all the conference organizers and my fellow speakers for the day. In the previous conversation, I joined at 1:30. In the previous speaker, when she was talking, I could see the passion, the knowledge, and the information what this person had, though I did not understand anything. I really appreciate that, and it is an honor and a privilege to be a part of this conference. So I'll be sharing the screen now. Just give me one moment.
Yes, we can see the presentation.
Yeah, yeah. So my topic of discussion in today's presentation would be digital inclusion and bridging the technology gap in social work. Now, this is a very debatable topic, technical topic, I would say, given the context of technology in today's global scenario. But let us delve deep into the global and the Indian context of social work and how things are going to be in the near future and how collaboration at international levels could focus in changing the social scenario or the social context benefiting the beneficiaries where we serve. So let me give you a brief introduction about myself. Theodore did introduce, but I would like to take some time to introduce myself. My name is Mohammed Shoaib, and I have last 1 decades of experience in the social space in India. I have been very constantly working in southern part of the country, the state called Karnataka. So I started my career with the Teach for India Fellowship Program, which is an umbrella organization of Teach for All based in California. And here I was working with low income government schools in academia and helping the students in digital literacy, English, and math. After which, I consulted for the government of India in the skill development space for young adolescents and vulnerable communities in the country. I am also a certified personal development coach, and I have trained and mentored 10,000 young students, more than that, in the last 1 decade in the country. And I am the author. I am also an author of the book called Career Crafting, and the founder and CEO of the organization called Kanasu Dream Foundation. Now, you might ask, what is this organization or foundation about? The word Kanasu means a dream. It is a Kannada word, which is a southern Indian language. And our vision is to create a world in which all women determine the course of their life and reach their full potential. Now, this is a huge and a big vision. Now, you might ask, how do we envision this? How do we make this happen? For the same, we run four different programs. The very first program is Project Shiksha, which focuses on gender equality in education. The focus area here is providing lifetime educational scholarships for girls or daughters of single mothers. So, for example, if we take some girl who's in a school and we start the scholarship for her, it goes on until her graduation or post graduation, until she reaches or she achieves the desired level of education. The second is called the Project Udan. Project Udan It focuses on building leaders for tomorrow. The focus areas here are skill development and job readiness for young college degree girls across the country. Now, we saw that there is a huge gap in the job readiness program for these girls where they are not able to introduce themselves. They don't have the career clarities for themselves. For these kind of beneficiaries, we launched the Project Udan, which is an offline skill development training program. The third program what the foundation runs is called Project Vriddhi, which focuses on empowering women to lead a life with dignity. Now, what is the focus area over here? Skill development and livelihood for young girls and women in the community. Like you can see in this picture, a lot of women who are dropouts or single mothers, they are learning digital literacy. They are learning how to use technology. They are learning how to upskill themselves and create or generate some sort of a livelihood for themselves. And the last program which I'll be talking about is Project Empower Her. It focuses on mobilizing the knowledge economy towards mentorship. Now, mentorship might be a norm globally, but given the Indian context, the only focus until today has been on skill development. Mentorship is not the norm, and the students and the youth are not really have the norm or learned about mentorship in the last few years. And this is going to be the focus in the next 1 or 2 decades for the country, where we are going to provide one on one mentorship for these students who want access to guidance. Now, the focus over here is mentorship and coaching for degree girl students because gender becomes one of the major aspects for contributing in the larger economy of this country. And we can mobilize the knowledge economy which is there already in the country and connect both of them to make the best use. This was about the organization. Now, when we talk about technology, you can just see in these images where we are able to connect the mentor, we are able to connect the mentee towards some sort of a connection, some sort of a bonding. Because the gap, what we found out was 80% of the girls who graduate in government degree colleges across the country don't take up a job. Now, what can be the reasons for this? One of the reasons is the family pressure or the family interventions, what is happening. So, what happens over here is the parents force these girls to get married immediately after the graduation. The second is these girls who are studying in low income or government degree colleges or be it any college in the country, they don't have the clarity of what they want to do with their careers. If the girl or if this child is not able to express as to what she wants to achieve in her life, how can she convince her parents to give her some time for the job or for the higher studies what she wants to do? Now, Project Empower Her, like I said you, it focuses on providing one-on-one mentorship opportunities for women in low-income or government degree colleges in the country through industry experts. These industry experts are also women who have navigated these changes, who have graduated, who are working in corporates, who are freelancers, who are entrepreneurs, and they enable these students, these young women, to receive personalized guidance, develop necessary skills, and advance their careers using technology. Now, what is the uniqueness of this program? When we talk of mentorship, a lot of people are doing mentorship. In the global scenario, mentorship is happening in general. But what is so special about this? One of the most important aspects over here is this is a fully online program. A girl sitting in one of the states, we have 28 states in the country, in one of the states can get the guidance from somebody who is sitting 2000 kilometers far away from this girl. This is the beauty of this program. And the second aspect over here is this is going to be one on one intervention for impact. Most often, we have seen in the academia space or in the college spaces across the globe that there is a lot of focus on skill development. In the skill development space, a lot of things are happening when a lot of students come together. There are groups sitting together learning. For example, like this conference, I think there are some 100 participants and they are listening to one speaker at a time. But what happens in this one on one mentorship opportunity is this mentor is going to sit with one mentee, answer the queries, make a connection, shift the focus for this girl, and make an impact or create an impact for this women. And all of these things are done with the help of technology today. Sorry, let me, yeah. In today's scenario, if you look at some global interventions, like we have this Force for Good, Code for Good from JP Morgan, we have Tech for Scale, we have Tech for Good, we have Tech Innovation, Tech for Impact, Team for Tech from Africa. All of these initiatives are focusing on innovation. All of these things are focusing on technology because the post pandemic crisis has enabled, has challenged each and every one of us to think beyond and use technology to impact the initiatives what we have. All right. So, what do you think are some of the reasons for these kind of initiatives? Would be, I'm just saying this from the last one decade of research and experience. What we had was the COVID-19. The pandemic has accelerated the integration of technology into impact initiatives. Be it academia, be it the school programs. Now, during COVID-19, a lot of students could not go to school or they could not go to colleges. Now, in the Indian context, not everybody was blessed with a phone, with the internet connectivity, or they didn't have a tablet or a MacBook or whatever you call it, the digital device. But in the COVID 19, every single one of us was challenged to take these kind of initiatives where this child is able to sit at home and learn because learning should not stop. Before pandemic, what used to happen is we used to always sit and think, okay, technology is an important aspect of growth, but it should only be done at a later stage. But pandemic has accelerated the integration of technology in the impact initiatives. The very first change what has happened is behavioral change in the change makers. Now, me as a social worker, before pandemic, my idea of technology, my perception about technology, or the interventions what I designed for technology were not very much aligned with the tech purpose. It was just a small part of it. If the program is 100%, the tech would be just 10%. So, COVID 19 or the pandemic has helped social workers like us bring the shift when the program is focusing on 50 to 60% of tech intervention and 40% of the implementation or the modules. This is what the COVID 19 has done. The very first one. And the second one is challenge the tech enthusiasts. Now, when I say there is an application or there is a portal for the students to learn, now, our beneficiaries are these girls, are these women, or are these men who are coming from vulnerable communities. Now, the challenge for these entrepreneurs or the tech enthusiasts was to create a product which would suit the needs of these beneficiaries. A simple product, easy to use product, but at the same time it is innovative, it is adding value to the beneficiaries. This was the whole idea of challenge, bringing the challenge aspect into the tech enthusiast, because we cannot deliver the same app or the same portal or the same intervention what is created at a general national level or at a global level. Community level interventions are really important, and this challenged every tech enthusiast in the nation. And the third change what happened was international and local grants. Very, very important. When we talk about the non-profits, one of the key aspects is getting the grants to scale your initiatives. Now, after the pandemic, what happened was lot of international grants, lot of local grants only focused on funding these kind of initiatives which was using technology for scale. in India, I can say more than there are 50 plus grant opportunities for non-profits, which are focused on tech intervention for the non-profits. And me, as a non-profit entrepreneur, was also selected for one or two incubation spaces, incubation cells, which helped us scale our non-profit tech initiatives. The last one is receiving of tech by vulnerable communities. Very, very important. Now, the beneficiaries are these people who had the challenges, who were facing the problems. These people were focused on getting something offline. Online was not a thing. But with the help of technology, post pandemic, the receiving end, the mindset of these people also changed. So the first is behavioral change in the change makers. The second is the tech enthusiasts. And the third is the local grants for these non-profits. And the fourth was the vulnerable communities and how they receive it. All of these things happened because the pandemic accelerated the integration of technology into impact initiatives. Now, if you ask my viewpoint, would tech be as fast as as it is today without COVID 19? I would say no. The pandemic was a major reason for this change to happen and for everybody to wake up and say technology is such a big boon for us and how we can use this in the impact space, right? So these were a couple of things. Now let us look at some global digital divide data. Right, according to the region, like we have identified a couple of regions like Africa, America, and the Arab, Asia Pacific, and then the European countries. From the year 2005 till 2021, we can see that every single country there is a growth, right? Every single country there is a huge growth. But look at Europe. In the European countries, the digital divide or the usage of internet is somewhere around 89.5%, but in the in the Asian countries, it's around 64%. Now the number is very astonishing because there are a lot of factors in this. So I'll be discussing that in my coming slide. Now, let us delve deep into the Indian digital divide space. Right, in the Indian digital divide space, I'll be reading out a couple of important informations which I think will have meaning to this presentation. Now, as per the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India or the World Communication Indicators database, only 43% of the population in India uses the internet. Right, out of the 100%, there is only 43%, which is less than 50% of the people use internet in this country. Now, this data is a general data point of every single citizen in the country. I did not segregate this data as to what is the data of the other communities. If you look at my second point in the presentation, the National Family Health Survey, right, NFHS of this country, it generated a report and it suggested that only 57% of the male population and 33% of the female population had ever used the internet. Now, the very first is there is only 43%, less than 50% of the country uses the internet. The second was out of this 43%, we have only 57% of the male population who is using internet and 33 who's female population who's using the internet. And the third is if you look at the third tertiary level of data, the scheduled tribes, the scheduled castes, or the minorities in this country have just access to 27 points lower than the original number of 43. Correct. So the general data of 43%, where there is less than 50% of people who are using the internet in India, and out of that minus 27 percentage points, we have the low income communities who are using the internet. With this challenge, when we talk about tech for interventions in this country, there are a lot of factors which play in the picture. Right, the very first is gender. Gender becomes a huge factor in terms of how many people have mobiles. For example, if I tell you in terms of using artificial intelligence or technology or mobile phones or Macs or anything, how many people have it? In India, I would say there are more male population compared to female population who have access to all of these things. The second is, what is the location of these people, the demographics of these people? Is it an urban space or a rural space? If you look at the rural space of this country, in general, there is less accessibility. In general, there are people who have less funding in terms of their per capita income, and with that, they are not able to afford the cell phones, or they are not able to afford the data which can be benefited for them, right? And the third is caste. In this country, a very beautiful thing over here is, since there are 28 states and 8 different union territories, the country is so huge, like the largest population in the world, and there are different demographics, different caste, and the belief systems of these castes also influence the use of technology. The belief system of these castes also influence on the education of these people. And the last is the age factor. And another important aspect among all of these things is the language. There are, I think, thousands and thousands of languages spoken in this country. And if you want to create something which is going to have impact on every single person in the country, it's impossible. It's impossible to create in India. Maybe you can create it in America or any other country where there is one or two languages. In India, for example, in the southern state of Karnataka, where I belong to, there are more than 50 plus languages in just one state. More than 50 plus languages. If I travel from my location to 100 kilometers to other location, the language changes. Another 100 kilometers, the language changes. And with this variation in the linguistic population, how are we going to create something which is common, which can be addressed to each and every single citizen of this country? It is impossible. That is why the non-profits play a very important role. That is why the non-profits play a very important role. So coming to the gist of when we talk about digital inclusion, okay, when we talk about bridging the technology gap in social work, in specific, at a global level, there are three C's of digital inclusion. This is our research, what we have identified. There are three C's of digital inclusion. The very first one is the community. What do I mean by community? Community is nothing but a space in which you are operating. Now, for example, I'd say I am from this particular state in India. My state becomes the larger population. In the state, where is the head office of the non-profit? Where is the specific location of this non-profit? The 5 kilometers of radius where the non-profit operations are active is called community according to us, because the community cannot be a larger aspect. I cannot say India is a community. I cannot say Romania is a community. The different cultures, the different languages, the different thought process, everything varies, right? The community in which the non-profit is working is called the space in which the operations of this non-profit takes place. Once the community is there, once the operations are implemented, the second important C for us to see over here is the connect. What do I mean by connect? The connect is nothing but the trust what the community has in the non-profit. The trust what the community has in the non-profit. That's very important thing. The community comes first. The operations, the interventions what you do, the implementation of your projects, the educational initiatives or the tech initiatives where you guys are working. All of these things are the community. But at the second level, what is the trust these people have on you? What is the trust the community has on the non-profit? That's one of the major aspects for you to have some sort of an inclusion, specifically when we talk about digital inclusion. The third aspect is collaboration. As a non-profit, my expertise would be training. My expertise would be skill development. My expertise would be mentorship. But I might not be a very good person in terms of technology. That is where collaboration with the right kind of people in technology is going to help you create the right kind of platform, create the right kind of product, create the right kind of an intervention with the help of your innovative ideas that can bring your thoughts into reality. Technology partners are one of the key aspects for digital inclusion. Just framing policies, just having ideas, just having some higher thought processes is not going to help us implement until and unless we have the right kind of technology partners, technology collaborations. The three C's for digital inclusion, like I would like to summarize, the first one is the community, the second one is the connect, and the third one is the collaboration. So this can be one of the major learnings offers which we had from the last decade. This is not there on some internet. This is our pure learning from working with different beneficiaries and stakeholders, different corporates, CSR initiative. This has been one of our learnings, right? So let me come to one of the major aspects of why non-profits are one of the most important people. Why non-profits are one of the most important aspects in this gameplay. See, take any country, it can be Romania, America, India, whatever it is. The government is one of the major stakeholder in terms of creating digital inclusion. It is not the responsibility of the non-profit, it is not the is a responsibility of the impact accelerators. First of all, it is the responsibility of the government to create policies for ease of accessibility for tech to all. Tech for all should be the idea for every single nation today when they want to scale or when they want to prosper in the future, because technology is going to be the game changer in the next 1 decade. I'm sorry, there is a spelling mistake over here. Please apologize. And second one, what the non-profits does is they become aggregators of policy. Once the government is deciding this is my policy, the non-profits become aggregators of these policies, implementation and innovation in the community approach. This is the beauty over here. Now, as let us take the example of India. There are, like I said, you 28 states and there are 8 union territories around different aspects, different languages, different people, different cultures. The government is sitting in one capital, New Delhi, and they're deciding on a policy change on technology or digital innovation or digital inclusion. What is going to happen is that policy cannot reach every single person without the help of the non-profit. Without the help of an NGO, this is not going to happen, because non-profits come with a unique thing, which is the community approach. Every single non-profit who is working, they have a very strong hold in the community where they are serving. That is the beauty of non-profits in general, in the international space, or very specifically in the Indian context, where they bring the implementation expertise, where they bring the community expertise. Now, I just remembered one of the organizations which one of my partners was friend was running. It was called I'm not remembering the name, but the idea what they had was every single government policy. I think there are thousands and thousands and thousands of government policy, but the people are not aware. The digital awareness, the literacy of these people about these programs wasn't there. So they created one application in X number of languages where the person would put their information, for example, my name, my age, what caste I belong to, what state I belong to. After I put this, it will generate some XYZ number of policies, XYZ number of policies or programs which I could benefit from. So it is one of the most successful project according to me, because creating awareness in every single village, the rural aspect of this country is one of the major important aspect. And the third players, the third important aggregators are impact accelerators. Impact accelerators are nothing but donors. They are the funders, funding agencies, or the CSR partnerships. Now, what these guys do is these guys help the non-profits. These guys help the non-profits accelerate the efforts to scale the initiative. The non-profit takes the ideas from the government, what should be done, what can be done, what are some of the policies, take the funding from the impact accelerators, make the difference in the community. That is what the idea of non-profit is. That is what the non-profit should be doing. That is what it has the capacity to do, and that is why non-profits are so unique in its approach, different by the government. If the government had the capacity to run its programs at 100% operational efficiency or 80% operational efficiency, there would be no non-profits needed globally. But we know how the governments run, we know how the systems operate, and that is why non-profits should have the right kind of vision for themselves, the right kind of thought process, the right kind of innovative ideas, and the right kind of mindset, and lastly, the right kind of heart set. That is also very important to implement or do these programs. When I speak about non-profits in this country, I think the digital divide is a social justice problem. See, very beautifully said that digital divide is a social justice problem, and we as social workers must incorporate digital inclusion strategies into our practices by making sure that our offerings, our programs, the data, resources, anything what we operate are available to each and every single person. That is the beauty over here. It should not be like an injustice. Now, see, the government is framing a policy. This policy is for every single citizen of the country. This policy is for every single citizen of the country. But why are some people knowing the policy and why are some people unaware about the policy? So simple. It's very simple. It's a very naive thought process, and it's nothing but social injustice. And with the help of technology, we can whatever we do, it can be the data, the resources, the information, every single thing has to be available for every single person of the area or the space or the community you are operating for. But when I talk about NGOs or the non-profits in India, the very first thing you guys need to do, or any person at a global level needs to do, is assessment. There has to be need assessment to understand what is the need of the community. You cannot decide that there is a water problem everywhere in the country and go distribute water, right? In a community there might be water problem, in a community there might be food scarcity, in a community there might be illiteracy. So the problems are totally different. So the very first thing any non-profit, the academicians or anybody needs to do is identify the problem. So do a need assessment. Once you do the need assessment, you need to do the digital literacy training. Very important aspect of it. In India, very importantly, the digital literacy education is missing. The education is missing for a lot of people, because given the demographics, given the reach of this country, a lot of people are unaware of the options, a lot of people are unaware of a lot of things. So this is one of the most important aspect. At the third level, it's collaborations and partnerships. As one non-profit, I cannot go and change the country. As one institution, one university, we cannot change the country, we cannot change the globe. But once we shake hands with people with different expertise, we have the ability to contribute more, we have the ability to give quality to the beneficiaries in whom we target to make a difference, the community, right? Lastly, just closing as a last slide, the what is the way forward? What is the way forward for people? I think the cross country collaboration, which a lot of people ignore when we talk about technology, non-profits doing work, the cross country collaboration is the last thing what is being looked upon. But that is one of the most powerful catalyst in the global pursuit for digital inclusion. Why I say that? Because it fosters shared learning, resources efficiency is going to be there, and it is going to have some development of inclusive solutions that transcend geographical boundaries. Now in India, I might have the best practices of India. In Romania, you guys might have the best practices of Romania. But once I come over here and say you, hey, these are the things which is going to work in India, sorry, you guys can say, hey, what are the things that is working in Romania? The four aspects over here. The very first one is the knowledge sharing and expertise exchange. The knowledge sharing and expertise exchange is one of the most important and the basic thing when there is a cross country collaboration. And the second is there is a resource pooling for infrastructure development. Resource pooling for infrastructure development, standardized policies for digital inclusion and practices. Now there might be some XYZ which are working really well in Romania, and you might say, hey, this is working really very well. We are successful because of this. I will say, hey, can I implement this in this country and see? Because at the end of the day, humans are humans, right? And the last is the collaboration for international funding and support is one of the key aspects in accelerating or scaling any solutions when it comes to innovation and technology, right? So lastly, I would just say thank you for the team, the conference team, Tudor, and others who have given me an opportunity. I have ended my presentation early. I think I have 10 more minutes for any question and answers. I would be really open for.
Thank you very much. Domnul profesor Pitulac, dacă puteți dumneavoastră să interveniți.
Thank you, Shoaib, for this excellent and insightful presentation. Yes, please send me the PowerPoint document so we can circulate it for all those in the amphitheater and the more than 100 people connected online.
Right.
Yes, the truth is that you only opened our appetite for more.
Yeah.
We already spotted areas of common interest, given our complementary and similar experiences.
Right.
We will strengthen our links with the meeting we will have in about 10 days. And we wish you and your colleagues success in your impactful activity. If there are questions from the audience, I think we have about 20 minutes for this. So, yep.
Be more than happy to take questions because I think learning happens through discussions. That's why I didn't want to give a lot of information and bore you guys. If you have any questions or any thoughts, it will be really helpful that I learn from you, you learn from me. That's the beauty of these kind of initiatives.
Yes, Shoaib, thank you very much. Yes, as I said, we'll have a meeting in about 10 days, as we discussed with the colleagues from the faculty, and definitely there will be initiative that we will fulfill together.
Stimați participanți, dacă aveți întrebări pentru invitatul nostru, vă rugăm să le transmiteți, eventual pe chat, dacă doriți să adresați întrebări.
Yeah, the question could be sent as well using the chat function, or anyone who wants to intervene. You can do that in Romania. Puteți să faceți asta în limba română și o să traducem. It's up to you. But it's a lot of information, you distilled a lot of information in a very attractive way, Shoaib. So I'm sure that everyone now is trying to identify ways in which they could use what they have learned today, and definitely, as I said, because even in Romania, is not a huge country as India is, and definitely the population it's much not so big at all. But definitely there are rural areas where not only girls but maybe especially girls are facing the same dilemmas and challenges that the ones that you are helping with your team. So we're looking forward to continue the collaboration with you. Thank you once again very much for this. We're happy to have you to this inaugural conference, and hopefully you will be with us for the years to come.
Yes, thank you, Tudor. I think there are two questions. I would like to answer them on the chat
Oh,
box.
please do. Definitely.
Yeah. One is from Bia. Like she said, this is a very interesting presentation, and I feel a bit ashamed by this. That there are so many different languages she did not know about. I think Bia, the beauty is these conferences let us explore and learn from each other. Right? I didn't know a lot of things about Romania from Tudor and you guys. I'm learning about it. And when it comes to this, it's a learning platform, and that's when we explore some of the new things coming. And I'm very excited that I was able to give something new that you learned from this presentation. And thank you for listening to this conversation, Bia. I really appreciate it. And you don't have to feel ashamed. Every place or everything it's a new place or it's a new thing to learn, right? And there's a question. It's a very good question actually. One of my favorite debatable topics. From how do you pronounce this, Tudor? I would need your help. The name?
Yeah, it's Mushata.
Mushata.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The question is, what is the connection between emotionality and artificial intelligence now and in the future? I think it's a very beautiful question and the most relevant question today. Earlier, when we talk about artificial intelligence, we thought that only those non core functions would be done by robots. For example, lifting something, keeping something somewhere, operating, and all of these things would be done by artificial intelligence, correct? Earlier, who were robots? Robots would be somebody who would be used for functions those were very difficult to do by humans, lifting, keeping something up, or which is something very heavy. But today, a lot of things that are happening through artificial intelligence is related to your emotional quotient, right? Robots are doing your surgeries today. In India, I can name a couple of hospitals where robots are doing the surgery, because earlier there was a checklist for doctors. Okay, I need to do this, open the stitch, put the stitch back, this is the next thing I need to do, this is the next thing. But today robots are doing that with much more precision, much more precision and the time constraint. And if you look at, there was a talk, I am not remembering the name, there was a conversation between a robot and Elon Musk. Correct. There is a conversation happening, and the robot, whatever information it has collected, accumulated over the last 10 years, it is using to answer like a human being. And there is no pre recorded questions. The questions are coming live, right? And their discussions is happening based on emotions. And robots are doing counseling today, emotional counseling. Like I have some problem today. Earlier, people used to go to psychologists, right? And even today they go. But there is a shift today. Sitting in a system, I can just type couple of things, I can get the answers. I can talk to a robot which will understand my situation and answer accordingly. And today, if you look at the speed in which AI is overtaking emotional quotient, emotional intelligence is even far more in pace with the other things, other functions. Correct? So I think that's a beautiful question to ask. A lot of things could be discussed, but I have given you a gist of it. It can easily be done by AI. There is no question about it. Right?
Thank you, Shoaib. Julia, you want to say something? No, just okay. Okay, Shoaib, thank you once again for your wonderful presentation, for your answers, and definitely we'll keep in touch. It was excellent to have you here, and definitely your presentation has given a boost to the conference.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you. It means a lot.
Christina, please take
Mulțumesc
back the
foarte
control.
mult, domnul profesor. Thank you very much. Acum voi face trecerea de la subiectul prezentat de invitatul nostru către doamna profesor universitar dr. Mushata Dacia Bocoș-Bințințan, care va prezenta din cadrul Universității Babeș-Bolyai din Cluj-Napoca. Domnia sa va prezenta viața emoțională inteligentă și viața socială inteligentă, care face cumva legătura cu subiectul și întrebarea adresată anterior. Doamna profesor, vă ascultăm cu interes. Să deschideți microfonul, doamna profesor. Așa.
Mulțumesc, oare vedeți ecranul meu?